Oh my god, I can't believe it's over. Hey guys, so today I'm here to do my discussion for Avengers Endgame because I did a discussion video last year for Infinity War and I just saw this movie on Sunday and I need to talk about it because it's over. We're never going to see the Avengers all together again and I'm very upset about that, and so many things are ending. And I also just saw the 3rd episode of season 8 of Game of Thrones and I'm like not even sure how to live my life anymore. It's just so many things. Like, what is going to be the new thing once everything's over? Like, I just can't see what's going to come out. And Star Wars is ending at the end of this year too, so it's just very sad. And like, how many book worlds are ending? What are we going to do with our lives now? But yes, I really want to discuss what happened in this movie and the parts that made me like die and the parts that made me happy. And yeah, it's going to be hecka filled with spoilers, so if you haven't watched this movie or any of the other 21 movies, probably don't watch this video. Okay, first thing I just want to say though is I definitely preferred Infinity War over Endgame. The way everything happened was not how I expected it, and that was completely fine. It's just it didn't hit me as much because you always knew that everyone was going to come back and no one was going to die and it was going to be completely fine. Like, it was just coming. So with Infinity War, I didn't see any of that coming. Like, I thought they were going to win. Like, I thought they had this, and then they didn't win and the snap happened and everyone died, and that was just the worst possible thing I've ever experienced in my whole life. But with this movie, like, yeah, some sad things were happening, but I just didn't feel as connected to it, and that made me really sad because yes, like, I was panicking in the cinema. I'm sitting there like, oh my god, and I was like tearing up in the first 5 minutes. Like, I cried so much. It's probably the movie I've cried the most in my whole life. So like, coming into the movie though, we had Hawkeye when he was with his family and like they were having a picnic and he was teaching his daughter how to shoot arrows, and I just started crying because I'm like, they're gone, like they're gonna be dust, like that's what's happening, they're getting turned to dust. And it happened and I was just not okay. And then we came to Tony Stark and Nebula on the ship, and it had been 22 days or something and they were about to die, and then Captain Marvel came in and saved him because like obviously Tony Stark wasn't going to die in the first part of the movie because he's in it later on in the trailers. That was really good. And then we get back to the other Avengers and everyone's kind of trying to figure out what to do, and then they find out where Thanos is and they're all in space going to go get him, and then you find out that Thanos snapped his fingers again and destroyed all the stones. And at that point I'm sitting there like, what are they gonna do? Like, they needed the time stone to go back to save everyone, and it's just like, oh my god, what? He literally ruined all the stones. Like, what's gonna happen here? And then Thor just comes in and cuts Thanos' head off, and I'm gonna say that was the most shocking thing in the whole movie because I'm there like, like, I was so shocked. I was just like, oh my god, no, what are they gonna do? And I was also really shocked too because it had only been a couple of weeks and I thought there was gonna be like a really significant time jump, but then we get back where there was no possible way that this was gonna be okay, and it then goes 5 years into the future and we see like how they've got all the big gravestones and how the world isn't really working as well as it used to and everything's kind of turned to shit. And that was really sad too because you're seeing how everyone's kind of coping with it and how different characters aren't even there anymore because of what's been happening. And I definitely thought that that was a really good way to show like how the world kind of went on even though it wasn't really going on after what happened. But definitely the best thing about this is the fact that the whole universe was saved because a rat managed to go onto the computer system that had Ant-Man in the quantum realm and brought him back. And so Ant-Man comes back and he's got this whole idea that they're going to use the quantum realm to time travel, get all the stones back, do a snap and bring everyone back. And I'm like, okay, this is how they're doing it. They're actually bringing time travel into it. Not just using the time stone, but bringing time travel into the story. And I was like, okay, what? So basically they go to Tony Stark, who has had a child, and that was something in Infinity War that happened with Pepper where he's just like, hey, we should have a baby. So he has a little girl, and I'm sitting there thinking he's not going to help you because if you went back in time and then everything reset itself, his daughter wouldn't exist anymore. But that didn't happen. But still, I was like, he's not going to help, and he's all like, oh, you can't even time travel. And then he, you know, goes on his computer for a little bit and figures it out. So he goes over and he's like, hey, I'm going to help, we're going to bring everyone back, but we're going to bring them back to where we are now so that the timeline that's happening at the moment doesn't go away, so he doesn't lose his child. And that was really good. But then they start to go and get all the Avengers. So Natasha goes and gets Clint, who has gone kind of apeshit crazy because he's turned into Ronin and he's killing a lot of people, but she gets him back. And you go and see that Bruce Banner has become a mix of Hulk and Bruce Banner, and now he's Dr. Hulk, I think that's his name, which was just a very weird character. I thought, like, I just wanted one or the other. Like, don't have them morph into both. Like, I know that's a comic book character for him to be like that, but I was like, this is weird. but they also go and get Thor, and Hulk and Rocket go and get him, and they literally took Thor's character back so many paces because he's been very depressed and he's become fat and he's got his hair again and he's got a really grubby beard and he's an alcoholic, and like the fact that they just ruined him. Like, I did think it was funny to show the change in Thor where he just completely gave up. In Ragnarok, he was so smart and he's talking about sciencey things and he wasn't the dumbest Avenger. You get to Infinity War and he was really trying to help and do different things, and like they're all trying to work together and stop what's happening. But then you get to this movie and he's just become stupid again, and I was just like, what is this? Like, he's meant to be so smart, and I thought that when he saw that they were going to be doing something good, he would like snap out of it, but he didn't. He just maintain the same kind of character role this whole movie, and I'm like, why would you let them ruin your character like that? Like, I was so pissed off. But basically everyone comes together and then they get into these little suits, and the whole idea that they've got is they're going to go and get the Infinity Stones before Thanos gets them. So they had this whole Brainiac session where they're trying to figure out the exact moment they should try and steal the stones, and there was a time where 3 of the stones were in New York, and then they have to go get the Soul Stone, and they have to go and get the stone when it's in Thor 2, and then they gotta go get the stone when it's from Guardians of the Galaxy. So they all go off, and it's really funny because we're seeing the scenes as they played out in the old movies, but they're always a little bit different, and like they kind of mess stuff up. Like, you see Captain America fighting Captain America, and you see there's a bit where he's all like in the elevator with one of the dudes and you think it's gonna smack down, and then he's there like, Hail Hydra, which was hilarious. But like, I really like that too. Like, also my favorite is when Chris Pratt is there singing at the start of Guardians of the Galaxy, and it's so powerful, and then it's just him in the background being all like, yeah, yeah, like singing totally off key, and it was my favorite part. Tony Stark saw his dad and had a conversation with him, and like Steve saw Peggy, and it was really fun, and they're trying to get all the stones and they managed to get them all back. But then they go and get the Soul Stone, and my god, I was crying so hard because you've got Natasha and Clint going to get it, and I'm sitting here like, oh, this isn't going to end bad because one of them's got to die. But what was so sad is neither of them were going to let the other die. So Natasha's like, oh, I'm going to do it, and she goes off, and then Clint stops her, and then Clint goes off, and then she like pulls his leg and she jumps off, and then Clint jumps after her and shoots an arrow and grabs her, and then he's holding her arm and she's like, let me go, let me go, let me do this, and he's like, I'm not gonna let you, and then she goes and then she drops and you see her dead body. Like, I was so sad because Natasha was like one that I expected not to die, and in such a circumstance it was just like, oh my god. And once you sacrifice yourself to the Soul Stone, you do not come back, which is also very sad. So they get all the stones back, but the main issue is that when Nebula goes back, she actually links mine with the Nebula in that time 9 years ago. Thanos and Gamora and all that managed to capture this Nebula, and they're finding out all the information, and then the other Nebula goes in and like pretends to be her, and then Thanos from the past and all that managed to get him through a portal. So it's like Thanos is back again, like this bitch just died and now he's back again, and he's gonna get the stones and completely wipe out all of the universe and make a new universe, and it was like, oh my god. So then the Avengers Corps come back and they've got all the stones, and then Hulk does the snap and everyone apparently gets brought back, but we don't see anything. But we see like birds have come back, and Clint's wife calls him and he's able to talk to her, but then the whole building gets blown up, and like there's bombs coming from everywhere because Thanos is coming and everything's getting blown up, and it's like, holy shit, it's happening. And then no one dies. Like, this building got blown up but no one dies, and I'm like, how is that even possible? But then Thanos is there, and the whole thing is they got to try and get the glove away from him because they made a new like Infinity Gauntlet. Thor, Captain America and Iron Man start fighting Thanos, and they're trying to stop him getting the glove, and Hawkeye's running away with the glove, and then suddenly this whole army just descends from Thanos, and it's the army he was going to use that Loki used in Avengers 1, I'm pretty sure. So he's got all the same ships and shit, and there was actually a really powerful scene where Captain America was able to get the hammer to come to him because Thor brought it back from the past and now it's in the future with him, and I thought that was cool. But then I was a bit confused because Captain America was using lightning, and I'm like, I thought the hammer was there so that Thor could control his own lightning, like there shouldn't just be lightning in the hammer. But anyway, there was a scene where he was fighting Thanos and his shield was getting broken, and he's there and he's like, you know, the whole army's there, and he's standing on the hill by himself being like, I got this. And then suddenly Doctor Strange opens all these portals and everyone comes back, and this whole army comes back, and I'm just crying my face off because they're all here and everyone was in this movie for 2 minutes and that was all they did. But yeah, it was just such a like Like, I couldn't cope. I was so excited and I knew it was happening. And so all these characters are brought 5 years into the future, but they're still all the same age, I'm pretty sure. But it was really great too when you had all the scenes where they're all coming towards each other and they're like hugging each other and having all their moments. And there's definite people that have actually died that aren't coming back, but still everyone was pretty much back, and they had this epic battle scene. Like, it was a really cool battle scene. And Captain Marvel's there at the end and she's like getting the glove, because there was a point where Thanos had the glove on and he's trying to snap. Tony Stark takes all the stones and he does his own snap, and he makes it so that Thanos's like population and army all disappear, and then he just dies. And for some reason I just didn't feel that bad about it. Like, the saddest thing for me was that with Tony Stark feeling so bad about Peter Parker dying, and when Peter came back and he hugged him, and at the end when Tony's dying and Peter's there being all like, oh, I'm sorry sir, like is there anything I can do? And then Pepper just pushes him out of the way, and I'm like, girl, like, I get that she's sad that Tony's about to die, but Peter needed to have that moment with him. And I mean, I felt it was coming that Iron Man was going to die because he started the franchise, so it's a good idea that he ends it. We're going to have Spider-Man Far From Home, there's going to be a Doctor Strange 2 movie, there'll probably be another Guardians of the Galaxy, but we're never going to see the Avengers together, and that is why this is such a sad thing to happen, that we're just kind of never going to get them all together, and especially considering Tony Stark and Natasha Romanoff have died, so there is only 4 of them surviving. But yeah, it was meant to be a really heartfelt scene, and then it didn't really feel like it. But the funeral scene was pretty sad, and like how he's left his daughter, and like everything was just like, oh, this is really not good. And like, actually the scene where we kind of was seeing what everyone was gonna do, like Thor was gonna go off with the Guardians of the Galaxy, that was sad too, right? So Quill was back, and because Gamora has come from the past to the future, the old Gamora is never coming back, but Gamora is alive again now, and she saw Quill and she punched him and she just left. So I was really sad because we don't have Gamora in the Guardians of the Galaxy anymore, and it's just really sad. So where they were going to bring that Gamora back. So now Thor is going off with the Guardians of the Galaxy, and I feel like that's what's going to make the 3rd movie interesting, is we're going to have Thor there, probably like a montage of him getting fit again. But something that I did think was kind of weird is that, so Steve Rogers went off and put all the stones back, because that was what they said they'd do, is they'd take all the stones but then they'd put them back in the right path of history so that nothing could go really badly. And he went, and then he didn't come back, and there's this scene where Bucky and Sam see him as an old man, and he's just sitting there being all like, yeah, you know, I went and spent my time with Peggy, and I'm like, he was always gonna end up with Peggy, but it was still just like, why do this to yourself? So pretty much 3 of the Avengers are out of this race of being Avenger people. What I really liked is Sam's going to become the new Captain America, which I think is going to be really great, and there is going to be a TV show for Falcon and Bucky, so I'm very excited about that. So we'll probably get more of him becoming Captain America. But I feel like it ended in a pretty good way, because there was pretty much happy endings kind of all around, even though stuff was sad. But the thing that annoyed me so much is only 2 people died. So this whole entire franchise, 2 died. I was thinking that they'd bring everyone back, but more characters who made it were gonna die, but no, we got Natasha and we got Tony. Nothing else happened, and I was very disappointed, because I'm like, why can they never kill people in a finale? So your whole entire army can get killed off, but the 60 main people are fine. It just irritates me, like, so many times. You got to the end of a conclusion, you knew you definitely won, but you had losses. You had losses, but you're gonna overcome them. When there's no losses and everything's just fine and happy dandy, it just pisses me off. This is why book finales are starting to irritate me, because they'll kill one side character who is someone's like cousin's daughter's brother's wife, and I'm like, okay, cool, you killed someone, but they are not even important. So the fact that they did kill off Iron Man and Black Widow, who are 2 pretty important characters, was a good move, but they definitely should have killed more people off. Like, more people needed to die. So I definitely am glad that there was only a year between both movies, because I feel like I would have been even more disappointed in this movie if I had to wait like 2 or 3 years for it. And I am glad where it ended, and it was a pretty good movie. Like, damn, 3 hours though. There was a lot of time when it was just people being upset because everyone was not there. But it just wasn't as good, and I just expected it to go differently in some parts. And definitely it is a movie I liked. Like, I really enjoyed it, and I was so like emotional throughout the whole thing, but it's just annoying when it can't be completely perfect. Like, I just want these movies to be perfect, and when they're not, it's just like, why do this to me? But anyway guys, thanks for watching this discussion video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!